Well, I'll
But
tell you what, man, if you were like waiting for me to give you a breath to actually say, "Hey, welcome," then you're going to be waiting like all day. So you might as well just start that thing. Go.
I'm trying to like realize like the podcast, you don't have to be as polished as I think you have to be, and I think people like a little more of the, just hamming it up a little bit. So I think I'm gonna do that more as I
Oh,
get.
definitely, man, definitely.
Yeah. So welcome everybody. This is episode 5 of the Toy Photographers Podcast. This is the episode you're looking for. This is the Scott Bline episode. So I'm excited. You're a close friend of mine. We've been friends now for a good minute, so it's going to be awesome conversation. And we're just going to chat, man. We're going to talk about you. We're going to talk about your photography and just your journey. And I'm excited, man. It's really an
Oh,
honor to have you on the show.
well, thank you, man. Thank you for having me on here. So far, I've really enjoyed the podcast. I think you guys are, well, you as the host are doing a phenomenal job, and just learning about the other photographers has been both interesting, and it's been really kind of cool to like hear how other people got started, like what kind of like professionally what they do, creatively, what they do, and it's just kind of cool to hear like some kindred spirits where you're not like just like this lone wolf. So now there's like
Right.
a lone wolf with a wolf pack.
I know, dude. I've felt that way. I have felt that way a lot, actually. And I think this is kind of fulfilling a need for myself selfishly, but also a need for the community as well. So I think, you know, stuff like this, podcasts, there's so many ways to digest toy photography, and having this format, it just works. And, I'm excited, man. It really is a fun conversation. And just jumping right into it, man. I
Yeah,
know
man.
you've been doing toy photography pretty consistently for like the last couple years, but when is like your formal date that you kind of got into it? I know you have a funny story about how you got into. You want to share?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's funny. Like I was listening to your conversation with Jason and Work More or Less, and it sounds like a lot of people kind of got into it around the Force Awakens. That wasn't like my story at all. I was at work one day. And I came into work early in the morning and I had some like GI Joes set up on my desk. I mean, it's a pretty cool environment. They let us decorate our desks. I mean, not
Nice.
too crazy, but you could put up little mementos or
Tastefully.
whatever. Tastefully, yeah.
Yeah.
So for some reason I had like an original GI Joe Wild Bill there, and when I came in, like a lot of the original GI Joes, what happens to them is like the O-ring breaks. So he was kind of like broken in half, and I was just like, oh man, now I got to fix it, which it's not hard to fix, but I was just sitting there going, oh no, this would be funny. So I like took Wild Bill, put him like in a plant that was over there by the like one of the windows,
Right.
and took my cell phone, snapped a picture. And for some reason, like I have no idea why, because I was never on Instagram. I put it on Instagram and go, what happened to Wild Bill? And then like all of a sudden I just got into this convoluted story. And I don't even know why I did it. It was just I just needed to do something creative or goofy or whatever. So I had like a Galoob Mr. T from I think they're like roughly just not shy of 6 inches, but it's like maybe 5.5 inches, the A
Yeah.
team that friends of mine got me for my birthday because I was a huge A team fan. And I took this Mr. T, and like Mr. T was all broken up about like Wild Bill, something happened to Wild Bill. So I started doing this, like having no idea how to take pictures, no idea how to operate a camera. I just did this for probably 6 months or so.
Wow.
Posting on Instagram. Yeah, like posting on Instagram. And then like I look back and like while the spirit of the pictures is really a lot of fun, like the quality of course isn't all that great, but it's funny, like I just went with it, and I was trying all these kind of crazy things, and like buddies of mine were like, hey man, this is kind of cool, we look forward to these. And then I don't really know like the date I stopped, but I kind of stopped because like life reasons,
Sure.
where just got busy, had school that I was doing, like my dad got sick. So I just kind of took a break from Instagram and then picked it back up a couple years later. So really, I guess my actual beginning was probably like 3.5, 4 years ago or so. Like the point where I actually started to get more serious about it was pretty much like 2 years ago.
So when you say you got serious about it, did you get like exposed to like, more traditional toy photography during that time? Like, how was it that you kind of like transitioned from just goofy Mr. T shots to, the stuff you do now? Like, what was that progression?
Well, it's funny. Even at the time, like when I started, I didn't even know this was a thing. And I hear a lot of people say that they're like, "Man, I can't believe I didn't know people did this sort of thing." But I remember like looking through the feed one day, associated or just looked up toy photography or whatever that was, and I remember I came upon like Barton, LT and Barton's account.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, like he had this series with like I think it was like a kind of a custom 3A Darth Vader on like I think it was like a motorcycle, and it was like the water was kind of going everywhere. It was like all these practical effects and stuff. And I was just blown away. I was like, "Oh, wow." I couldn't even believe anybody could do something like that. And this was kind of before I had stopped, but I was just in awe that like, someone could do that with toys. So every once in a while I would always kind of go back and like, check out his account and like, look and see. And then when I got started again, it wasn't like I got started with toys. I kind of got started doing like these Hallmark ornaments, just, whatever. It was Christmas time when I kind of started doing it again. So I was, taking pictures of these ornaments and just more or less just playing around with this camera.
Right.
And somehow like one thing led to another. I got exposed to like some GI Joe photographers, and then I got exposed to like Star Wars, and then all of a sudden I'm not sure like the sequencing, if like I knew about like Sergeant Bananas before that. Of course, everyone has like Sergeant Bananas as kind of like an inspiration, role
Of
model.
course. Of course.
But I'm not. I mean, it might have been. I might have known of him before, but like I think it was around this time. I'm like, oh wow, who can do things like this? That's kind of like when like then I guess the Star Wars the Black Series. I saw that and I'm like, okay, like now it's like now this is something that I think I can do. I think this would be kind of cool. Now I had like I said, I had no idea like formal training. I really had no idea, no concept about lighting or anything like that. But that's kind of like that was kind of the first step into a much larger world, I guess you could say.
For sure. And that's something, I've mentioned it before on previous episodes that is definitely the platform that I really got exposed to. I want to say, quote unquote, real toy photography was at Matt's page,
Oh,
Star
absolutely.
Wars The Black Series for sure. So that's cool, man. So it's almost like this progression of discovery where you're just, having fun, shooting photos. And I was actually talking to Red Dog, Paul Tresidern. Has a very similar story to yours, and it's gonna be interesting to hear his side of that too. Whether or not you discover it, first on Instagram or whether it's just posting funny pics, man, like all of us, once we discover this community and once we discover like the art form that is toy photography in its essence today, like, it's addicting, it's enjoyable, and it's like I don't know, man, it's like it's hard to describe like your progression because I feel like you progress so fast because you're such a obsessed individual about your craft. Like
I, I don't
you're
I don't
so
think thank
obsessed.
you, and I'm cringing a little.
No, dude, it's a good thing. Like, I mean, get obsessed about your hobbies because I think that's only leads to, mastery. Like people that are obsessed with things, they get really good at it. And so, man, kudos to you and to what you do. So like I know you used to kind of do a lot of Star Wars, and that's kind of how we actually formed our first conversations was,
Yes.
over Dagobah Customs, and you reached out to me, and I remember giving you that diorama, and dude, those were like some of my favorite shots back in the
Oh
day when
yeah.
you did the Smuggler's Retreat 1.0, and you were doing some Han Solo stuff, some Greedo stuff, and I think that was really back when you were kind of discovering who you were as a toy photographer, and you're experimenting with different styles and like always pushing yourself. I just really appreciate the level and the amount of passion you put into each shot, man. It's
Oh
always
man, thank you, thank you.
for sure.
You know, it's funny, like you mentioned the smuggler's retreat. That was kind of a when we were talking earlier. That was one of those failed shots from the other day. I was trying to do a smuggler's retreat with Han and Spike, and
Oh, nice.
I know. Well, I was like all excited, and I took the picture, and I wasn't like really happy with it. At the setup just wasn't like in my head wasn't working, and then like I brought it back and I started looking at it, and I was just like, nah, this just isn't it. But I was really bummed because I really wanted to kind of get you another smuggler's retreat shot with Han, but um,
Oh, that's all
it
right, man.
I'll get it. It's funny. I still have it all set up. I still have both Han and Spike in there. I just I needed to step away and like I'll come back to it, I guess.
You have that patience though, man. You're able to do that. And that's something that I'm learning to kind of absorb from your skill set is like keeping up a shot and just like rethinking it and redoing it. And I get so impatient sometimes that I just want to be like, okay, I'm done. And I'll just deal with whatever a shot I got and I'll just find the best one and post it. And it's like you will go back and completely reshoot until you get the perfect represent or close to perfect representation of what you originally had in mind. So I'm definitely always in awe of the fact that you have that tenacity to do
Well, I
that,
don't know
man.
if it's tenacity more so than just get so bummed when a shot doesn't come out the way that like you
Yeah.
know like, you see something like in your head, you see something and maybe you saw it from like someone else and you're like, "Oh, I want a shot sort of like that."
Right.
But like at the time, maybe you don't have the skill set or maybe you haven't thought it all the way through or maybe like sometimes like you know like a Punisher shot from that. I think it was like from last week where Punisher and Batman. Like I had that set up. I was looking at it and like I was just not really happy with it at the time. And I took a few test shots and the lighting just wasn't working and everything about it just seemed off to me. So I just stopped. I put put everything away, went and took a breather, you know, for the evening and came back the next day and everything kind of clicked then. But I've had that before where I think it was with Rock Lee and the Stormtroopers, where I think I took that like four times.
Really?
And yeah, and like it was like three, and I mean, the first couple were okay, but it was like the last time I'm like, yeah, okay, that's the one. Yeah, and sometimes it could just be something small, you know, where it's just like there's a figure off. Maybe it's
Right.
just not positioned right, or you have a figure like you know how like you get especially like when you get like with the stormtroopers and whatnot some figures just they stand a certain way and that's how they're going to stand and if you try to it's funny man like whenever I like look at like what was it like non 1072 like every one of his poses every one of his poses just spot on it looks so natural
I
uh
know.
just amazing stuff and I'm like so but that's like nuanced you know I mean there's like real I mean, it's not like you're just throwing a figure straight from the package out and it's going to look good. You really have to work something like that. And sometimes it takes like customization. You got to shave a few millimeters off like the armor or something. But I mean, it's you know, when you get a shot like that and it's just not working, you know, just it's best instead of just to kind of like live with regrets to just kind of move along and I mean, nothing is making you post every day. So unless
That's
you're
true.
enjoying, now if you're enjoying it and you know that you don't really care and whatever, but I like it when like the poses and the body angles and you know whatnot match kind of the story I have in my head. And if they're
Nice.
matching, then I'm you know I don't want to have to like look at that later and go, nah, I wish I wouldn't have rushed it.
Yeah. And shout out to Stu, by the way, who is an amazing,
Oh,
amazing poser. Like the way he poses, like, just photography aside, he's a master photographer, but his posing, like the fact that you mentioned that, and that's something I always had to like triple take, when I'm looking at his stuff. I'm like, how in the world? And you do that too, man. Like you get that pose down and it's just nailed. And
well,
I
yeah, well, thank you. Sometimes like I come back to a pose and I'll look at a picture and go, nah, gosh, I wish I would have. I just couldn't, like, I couldn't find an angle, or I couldn't get the pose I wanted with where the camera was and all that. Um, Another, like, everything Kylo, Jesse is amazing at just finding, like, just the right pose, the action pose, and like I always kind of like marvel at, like, when he does kind of like a Django, or I guess the new Mandalorian one, but
Oh,
like
I
he'll do
know,
like a
dude.
Django, like where he's got like the rifle extended, and like the cape is flowing, and like he's got that, like the dirt and whatever, the debris flying. You just sit there, you go, man, he
Yep. It's
that's
speechless.
just amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, really, it
Exactly.
is. And like then he'll show like that behind the scenes, and behind the scenes, you're just like, that doesn't really look like the end
No, it
product.
doesn't. I
It's like,
know.
how can you make that look so simple, man?
It's
But
crazy.
yeah,
He's a
but
master too.
oh, he's fantastic. He's phenomenal, man.
So cool, man. I've never tried any explosion shots. Like I've tried like some snow shots with like the flower method,
Oh yeah.
and that's difficult as it is. And
Hmm.
I've never actually officially done any explosion shots. And that's something that's on my list of skills that I have to acquire because I love those shots.
Oh man, well, I tell you what, it's funny, like Visual Force. Oh man, he does those, and he, like, he just does them so well. And Another World, like he does them, like Christian will do them, and it's funny, like I'll see him and I'm like, Grown Men Toys, like he does them, and I don't like know what he's doing, because when he does them, it almost has like a bokeh effect. It's
Yeah,
not so much like the explosion, and I don't know if that's just the capture or like what his shutter speed is, but like he does that, and I just sit back and just go, man, like,
I
why
know.
can't I do that? Because mine don't look like that.
Right.
But there's definitely a skill. I don't know, man. Those guys, they really nail it.
They do. And, now talking about kind of those inspirations for you, I'm curious now going back to kind of your style and your photography, how have you noticed your style and your improvements over the years? I know that you are very critical. You're extremely critical, too critical, man, on yourself. But how have you noticed like the things that when you first started out, like even with the Mr. T stuff compared to now, like when you're shooting like Spider-Man, the new SH Figuarts Spider-Man, and like kind of seeing that style. It's like, do you even like realize that's you, or like, because I know you're always trying to learn new tricks, and like, how do you see yourself improving and stuff?
Well, the one thing, it's funny. It's like always, I think, like, and I know that this actually is a thing. It's like legitimate. I don't know like what the term is precisely, but there is a learning curve. You know how, like, when you first start learning a skill, you rapidly improve, because you have there's a huge gap from being knowing nothing to like knowing just a little bit, or knowing a lot. So there's a huge gap. So you kind of fill in pretty quickly with kind of like not so much intermediate, but as a beginner, you kind of pick up things. And like the first few things that I kind of saw like as improvement was, just one, like general lighting, and like figuring out like how to get the figures to kind of look halfway decent. Lately it kind of, then it slows down, and then you kind of pick up something, and then you see like another improvement, and then so it's funny. It's like a lot of times it feels like just like running in place, man. Just like kind of taking pictures, and you're doing the same thing, and there's like maybe not maybe like real tiny incremental improvements, that maybe you kind of figure out how to color grade a little bit better, or maybe you got like some lighting just a little bit better. Like one thing I guess, if we're talking about like improvements, is that, and I can't, I knew these things. It's like funny. It's like I just get so lazy I don't do them. But I was looking at like Tiny Epic Photos, like a behind the scenes, and he had set up a Loom Cube, like, like as a backlight for like one of his shots. And he does this all the time. You see it like in his behind the scenes.
Right.
And like and I do backlighting a lot, but like for some reason I just kind of set this shot or set this loom cube up, behind. I was taking a Vash the Stampede picture, and it was just dumb luck, man. Like it hit like that Nika diorama, like that pole that kind of goes down the center. The light somehow hit that, and it caused this lens flare that the camera caught. And when I was looking at it, and like that Vash anyway is like it photographs really well. So like when I had done my edit, I just sat back and go, oh wow, now that's the power of like, just doing like, some hair lighting or some rim lighting. And so like that is something that I've been trying to focus in on a lot more, is just really trying to nail, always trying to get like, the general lighting and whatever, but like, trying to do those tiny improvements where you get like the rim lighting so that you get like a 3D quality to the figure. It's shown better. I guess so it doesn't look so flat, and that's kind of like
Right.
the one thing that I've been trying to work on a lot lately is making sure that the images, I don't want like like with the background or whatever. I want there to be a sense of depth. And I don't know. So I think that's kind of like one improvement where like I think when I first started, a lot of these images they were flat. There wasn't a lot going on there. And then now lighting has gotten better, which in turn has made them seem more three dimensional, more I don't know, like realistic. I guess we're talking about
Sure.
toys, but I like it like like when you can kind of look at a photo and you can step back and you go, when you look at it, it's not a toy when you first see it, and then
Right.
I think always kind of like doing seeing things like that. I'm sorry, that's
Yeah.
a real long-winded answer for you.
No, dude, that's the answer I wanted to hear. I mean, the fact that you're able to, kind of address, your journey and kind of see where you've come. Like I remember the day you texted me and you were saying like, man, I really found this one guy who's like just a master at that rim lighting, and you started working on it and started, learning how to do that flash, that double flash
Oh yeah,
lighting.
yeah.
And I was like just blown away at the simplicity of those setups. But whenever you applied it, I think the Ahsoka shot was the one that you had done when you really
Oh,
first started doing that,
was
that
that the one with
blue.
the smoke and?
Yeah, dude.
Oh
That
yeah.
Ahsoka shot to this day, I think is in the top 10 Scott Bline shots for me.
Oh, thank you, man.
I
It's
love
funny,
that
like
shot.
that whole series, like those three. I think I did three. I was going to do more, but I kind of backed away from it. That one was the first one, and I was just playing around, and like one, like with the flash, I have these gels, and like a teal gel just really works well with Ahsoka. I mean, just the color just works so well with her. So of course, I always kind of that's my go-to when I'm taking pictures of her. And like that, like with the smoke, it was such a simple setup. I mean, it was like the glossy base and like just, black background, whatever. And then when I got done with it, I'm like, oh wow, this is actually kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, in essence, there were two flashes. I had a light in front, kind of like so to actually show her, to kind of display her, but the flashes were there, kind of on the side to kind of illuminate and to like, give some edge lighting to like her shoulders and arms and whatever,
Right.
and like, legs, but also, to light up the smoke. And, when I see something like that and I kind of look at it, I'm like, all right, now, like, that's why I like to take time, like, finding those angles and, blocking light and, kind of taking that extra bit of time to, work on lighting and position your lights. It doesn't seem like it at the time, but it can make a huge difference. If you don't do it, maybe you'll never know. You're just like, oh, this is a cool picture. And then like if you kind of do, you kind of move a light around, and then maybe you get like a little bit of a hair light there, and you're like, oh my gosh, it just completely changes everything. And I can't even believe I thought that other one was in the same league.
Right. And what's crazy is I'm going through your feed right now, and another shot that completely that I forgot about was that Lupin shot that you did with the rain splash effect.
Oh, oh,
I
is that the one
forgot
where
about
like?
that shot, dude. Oh my God. I'm looking at this shot right now. I'm like, how did I forget this one?
Oh,
This is
that's the one where he kind of has the watch going out like Spider-Man.
yep, yep.
All right, I'm gonna do a little reveal here. Like
Uh-oh.
when I bought that figure, I remember like I sent you like the image, and you're like Lupin. Oh my gosh! Like I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I had no idea who Lupin was. None.
I
Like
don't either, dude. I just know about the character. I've never seen the anime.
I was out on Amazon and I was just kind of goofing around, and they had that Lupin figure on sale for like I think it was like $20, and
Oh,
it was a
wow.
figure arts Lupin, and I'm like, that looks pretty cool. And I
Right.
got him, and like I think there's also kind of like a cool power in not knowing who a figure is or what a figure, what like it represents to people
Sure.
or like whatever. So because you don't come in with any of that baggage, you don't have any like preconceived notions of what you can and can't do. And it was funny. I posted that, and Jay's like 529J. He was just like, "Man, that reminds me of like Spider-Man." I'm like, "Well, that's kind of like what I was going for because I had no idea that's what it looked like to me. It looked like a Spider-Man web thingy." And playing around with like water and stuff, and like I think I just used an eyedropper and was just like dropping water onto my hard concrete floor in my basement where I took that picture, and it started splashing. I'm like, "Ah, cool. All right, let's go with that."
Dude, did that so that accessory came with the figure?
Yeah, yeah, like so that watch, like he has a watch, and then he has a watch. I guess in the anime, which I have watched, listeners, so I'm not completely ignorant of the fact of like who Lupin is and like who Jigen and all those guys are. Like there's like a wire that comes out, and he uses that to like steal gems or whatever. It's kind of part of his gag where like he uses that to pilfer items. So
Right.
I I guess like when I got the figure, I knew that he was like some kind of thief or something. But like other than that, man, I was just like, he's got really cool, long legs. He's crazy articulated. Let's put him in a running pose and see what happens. And like I mean, it was so easy. It was like almost such a natural pose for him. And like I just kind of like a lot of times I'll just work on something and like, and I'm not saying like I have like these like a huge library of poses. I kind of do a lot of the similar ones with the running and stuff. But like that one, I kind of put together, and I'm like, all right, cool, man, let's take a shot. And it just worked out really well, and I was actually really happy with that one.
Dude, it's amazing. That's like I've kind of coined this phrase, the classic Scotty Bline running pose. Like whenever you get one of those shots, man, where it's the feet are just I don't know how you do it, man. It's always so distinct in your shots when you have that running pose. It's great, man.
Well, it's funny, man. Like I always do. I like the limbs are always kind of the same, and like I'll look at them and like, man, I think I've had that same pose in like six straight shots or something. But like
But
when
it
I get
works.
yeah, when I get it in my head, it's almost like I can't get out of that, and
Yeah.
I'll take like three or four in a row where it's the same. It's funny, man. Like I know a lot of people, they have like themes where their lighting is the same or they have the same setup with like dioramas. I think I always go with like I have like a theme of like a pose for like a week or two straight.
Nice. That's awesome, man. I know you love shooting the SH Figure Arts, and you are also the curator and admin of SH Figure Arts fans.
Indeed,
I
yes.
want to know, is that your favorite line of figures to shoot? And if not, what is?
And also, let me say thank you to you, Dakota, because you were the one that talked me into that fans page, and listener was the one that created the graphic that graces that page. So shout out to you, buddy.
Oh, thanks, man. No problem.
No, well, I don't know. I do love figure arts. I don't want to say I don't. I mean, some of them are kind of lemons, and I just have really am not all that happy with. But for the most part, like I do love their figures because I love how well, one, the accessories, you always get like a ton of accessories, different hands, different head sculpts. Well, occasionally, not all the time, but a good many. Typically, the only thing that I get really frustrated with using those is that trying to maneuver the head past a certain point can
Mm.
be really frustrating. That Spike figure, which I love, I do love that figure, but like I tell you what, man, like once you take the head off of him to kind of put on like a new face or something, I've had so many problems trying to keep like I'll be in the middle of kind of a like posing or setting up a scene, and the head will just come off, and then like
Oh,
I got
really?
yes, and it's probably my fault because like that's like one thing that just drives me crazy is like I'll set up a picture and I'll look at it through the camera, and just the head just looks a little bit off. It's not turned the right way, or it's not up enough, or whatever. So I'll go back and move it, and then like it happens. It's happens more than once, and with more than one figure with those figure arts, like the new Thanos from Endgame figure arts, which is a phenomenal figure. It's a beautiful figure, but like the way the head sculpt is with that helmet, if you try to twist it past a certain point, the face will pop off, and then it's
Oh,
just it's so frustrating. It's so
yeah.
frustrating.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a love-hate relationship with figure arts for me too. And I definitely don't I guess I don't mean hate in like I hate them a lot, but like there is learning those import limitations. It's definitely it is a learning curve, and having our big clumsy American hands, we struggle.
well, I do, man. I have like big old thumbs and hands here, so
Yep.
it's probably my fault. I'm not gentle. I'm not gentle at all with figures. I mean, if there's anybody out there that just brutalizes these things and just does not take it easy, I'm that guy. But
It cracks me up because I'm like the guy over there who's like really so gentle and like just the most, tender care I take of my figures. And you're over there just like just pounding them.
yeah, I'm almost like a 6-year-old man. I'm just taking it, smacking it on the floor.
Especially when you don't get the
Bruise
right
you up a
shot.
little bit. Let's see. I guess like I said, the figure arts. I love those. You actually got me really started getting me into like Mezco figures, like the 112 collective. I absolutely love those, man. I adore those figures. Everyone I've gotten, I've just been crazy about, particularly the Punisher ones.
Oh yeah.
So like the Netflix Punisher, and then just like kind of I don't have the comic, the super comic outfit one, the one that's like ridiculously expensive,
Right.
but whatever that recent one is, I don't know if it's the collector's one where he's got like the dirty outfit, and those I find like extremely agreeable. Those are fun to shoot.
Yeah, that's one of Mezco's best figures, man. Yeah, that sculpt is amazing. I hope they'll do an infinite amount of more variations and exclusives or
Oh, I
I
hope
don't.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. It really is. I know we kind of mentioned this earlier, but are you interested more in the process of toy photography, like the shooting and the editing, or do you really focus more on the posting? Like, because I know a lot of people that I've interviewed, they say both, but I think there are some people that lean more towards just the shooting, and they could shoot all day long and just don't really care to post. What are you kind of interested in when it
You
comes
know,
to toy photography?
it's funny, man. Like I used to be like, oh, I gotta post, I gotta post. One, like I can get pretty like I hate to say OCD. I don't want to make it, I'm not trying to make light of anyone who actually has like obsessive compulsive disorder. But like I'm the type of person that really likes to be on a schedule. I like my life to have certain patterns, and that I guess that might seem a little bit weird for people who are much more like live by the seat of their pants sort of thing. But like I like to have like a certain like routine, I guess is the way I do it. I wake up at the same time when I have to drive into work. I kind of eat the same things. It's like I don't like go too crazy with that. I guess where I'm going with that is like I like to post on the same, days around the same time, whatever. And if I don't, that just something always just kind of seems a little off with that. So like knowing that, like the posting to me is like I can get into like I want to post at this time and I want to post on this day, whatever. But like the shooting, I can take shots. I could go out like, if I had like a weekend, like you say, like my wife took the kids somewhere, I could go out and I'd take a couple shots. I'll come in and play with the pictures, and then I was like, oh, it would be cool if I could go do this down at the park, and I'll try this again with this figure, blah blah blah, and let's see if I can get this sort of thing. So I guess really to me is like I really enjoy like working through shots. Like I really enjoy getting in there, changing up where like how would I create a particular effect? How would I do this? Like how could I change that lighting, or how could I do, what have you? Um, and one that I guess like to me lately, like the posting part, it's not so much like I really enjoy like the camaraderie, the community, the communication, chatting with other people, and just like the friendships I've developed. But like the actual posting part to me has become less important. And we could figure out like a myriad of reasons why. I think kind of like the number one culprit, and I'm sure I'm probably preaching to the choir here, and also kind of beating a dead horse in one sense, is that just because of that whole IG algorithm, I mean, really, I just don't care. It's not, I'm gonna
Yeah.
post, and then like the interaction is cool. I love the interaction, and I love talking to people about shots, and like I love, like, especially like this time of the year, I'm kind of like with some people, like inspired by Andre, scruffy looking photos, geek gauntlets and whatnot, and we're kind of like doing like this dark themed photography where it's like Halloween sort of things and like darker things. Like that's fun, kind of like getting together with a group of people and kind of carrying a theme throughout the month, because you're interacting and you're having fun with it. But what I enjoy most is how do I get to that point? Like how do I get that dark shot other than just like turning off the lights? Like is it do I introduce like some red lighting or something to kind of give it a horror effect, or do I bring in some kind of a LUT in Photoshop to kind of really darken it, or maybe a matte, or whatever, just trying to or maybe it's like some props, or maybe it's like foreground and background coloring that kind of gives you this spooky sort of feeling. Like that to me is the fun part. Doesn't
Nice.
always work, and sometimes it can be like super frustrating, but I think that's probably what I look forward to the most. And like once again, listeners, I'm really sorry. This is how I communicate and process. I just ramble, and then like 10 minutes later I'll come back around to like actually answering a question.
No, I mean, hey, you got to get your thoughts out. And, I appreciate that you're willing to go through the process of getting all of them out. So no worries, my friend. When it comes to the posting, I guess I lean more towards wanting to get the photography out and just being done with it and being able to interact. Because I love the interaction. I think that's why I love doing the 112 collective feature page. And I love being able to just interact, post to post. And I think that's something that I'm starting to understand, like, hey, if I just take a little bit more time, if I really approach this in a way like yourself and like many others do, of course, the quality is going to improve. And then also the satisfaction you get from doing a really difficult shot maybe took you 3 to 4 days to really kind of plan and
Right.
process and shoot and reshoot. When you look at it from like a toy photographer's perspective, and everybody looked at it differently. This community on Instagram, like, of course, it can be one of the most positive, most affirming communities out there that I know of, but it also can be really toxic if you
Hmm.
get in a rut, which you and I can sometimes with our own self critique. And
Absolutely, man.
learning how to transcend that's really, it takes a lot of experience, especially in today's world with, the instant gratification, and learning how to be okay with like, okay, I'm not going to post for 2 weeks and just, refocus. It's the people that have been doing this for a while that understand those. You got to take time off, be able to get that creative juice flowing again and realize it's okay. Like, I love schedules too. I love having my day set up and being able to just get everything done in an orderly fashion. It makes me feel good. I can lean both personality types. I can be the super artsy creative and not have anything and just, go with the flow. And then I can also be super type A and just have everything, all my ducks in a row. I don't know how. It's like I can just turn the light on and off and do both. When you get in a rut and you're trying to get out of that rut, I think sometimes the best way to do that is to just take a step back and like you do, you like to just get more shots in and then find something worthwhile and find something that you really enjoy. And then, of course, in the meanwhile, be interacting. You're always on the community. I mean, you're on Instagram every day, and you're always
Yeah.
interacting, and you're always like, like myself, always interacting with the community. If you can just get out of that rut by realizing, hey, your art is good. It's really good. And, if people don't like your art, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's art. Everything is subject to the viewer. So if someone enjoys it and someone likes it and someone appreciates it, it's art. That's what it is. And even if nobody else does, but you enjoy it, it's art.
No,
So
well, no, you make a good point, man. You make a really good point. And we've had this conversation before. I know, I don't know, what was it like back in like May or April, February, March. I don't know. It was earlier in the year. Like I just kind of stepped away for a few weeks, and it's tough for me to do things like that. And I remember like I was talking to you, and I forget like what I was doing. I was trying to take some shot, and you were just like, dude, just don't take a shot. Just walk away, leave the camera behind for like 2 or 3 days or whatever it was, and like for me that's really tough because like I just like I'm the type of person like when I was growing up, like, I played like baseball, and it was like the way to get better at like hitting, the way to get better at fielding or whatever was to go out and do it. And like, it's like say you play guitar, you do whatever, like play golf, like the way to actually get better at things is to just do them. And like photography really isn't like that in a sense. Like art really isn't like that. Sometimes you just need to walk away, kind of clear your head and get a fresh perspective. So I don't know. Sometimes that can be kind of tough for me. Like I'm a doer. Like I'll just be like, all right, man, I'm just going to go down and I'm going to try to take this shot. And I'll try something new, and like by try something new, like maybe I try it at a different time of day. It ends up being the exact same thing because that's just your brain is wired, kind of thinking of something a certain way at a certain time, and then because you really need to kind of clear those cobwebs out. But like
yeah.
like I will say this, and like I think listening to you, and I think like maybe it was just the one podcast with you and Jesse Neronian when you guys had a conversation, and I don't even like know the particulars. I think it kind of like you were talking about like community and just like being there for the community and like having fun and whatever. Like that's one thing I've really been trying to kind of get back to, and I think I have been recently, where it's just like I'm just gonna have fun. I don't care, and it's just like I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna play around. I know there's gonna be like kind of for the most part, there's going to be like a floor that I'm not going to go below. And I don't say this like egotistically or whatever. I think there's a certain like I can figure out enough. Like I can look in a camera and like, go, all right, I can take a shot that at least is going to come out clear for the most part. I won't be all cloudy and it won't be all like blurry or whatever. I can kind of get to a point where it's going to be at least in focus. I can probably figure out how to brighten it up some and make it at least look presentable. Now, is that going to be exactly what I want? No, but just being able to have that floor that I can kind of get to kind of helps with that. And then it's just like, man, let's just go out and like do this. Let's have some fun and throw some dirt or whatever. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, it's not cold yet, so how bad can it be?
You're spot on, like 100%. I want to go back and hit on this point really quick about what you said about like with art and photography, it's not like sports. It's not like you have to go out and pound the weights and then, you get to that plateau, whatever it may be, and you have to figure out another way to get past it. Like with art, almost like there is moments of inspiration and there are moments of where you have none. You know what I mean? And it's learning to be okay with the moments that you have none, and then realizing that inspiration will come. It's just learning how to create and cultivate a attitude of inspiration. That's like the people out there that have mastered that. Those are the ones that are like I always look up to in this community, and we've mentioned them, the accounts that are so solid and are so consistent in the way that they shoot, and they're always amazing and always blowing my mind. Like I'm always wondering, how are they approaching this? What like wavelength is their brain working on? Because having that constant state of obsession with toy photography is like eventually you feel like you're getting burnt out. But
Oh
like,
man.
you know what I'm saying? Like, but at the same time, you love it. It's such
You
an
know what?
obsession.
You know, it's funny, man. You say that, and like, and I think we've kind of talked about there are quite a few accounts where we're looking at them like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe like, and like, believe me, like, I don't put myself in anywhere near, I don't see myself anywhere near like any of that. I'm whatever, I'm just
You
I'm,
should.
I'm a hacker, man. But like,
You should.
someone who I really look up to, I think is just an amazing, amazing artist, photographer, and plus just a super awesome person. Like Jax, Plastic Action. I remember reading a post from him a few just weeks back where he did like a stop animation, like a figure, dunking on another one. And he like in his post, he's like, man, I feel like I've been kind of going through the motions. I've been kind of burnt out with photography, toy photography in general, something to that effect. And I'm like, wow, man. I mean, here's a guy who, I mean, is just an amazing photographer, just super creative. I remember, like, I always think back, like, he did this one picture like a year or two ago, year and a half ago, where he had like a Luke going, hey, how Uncle Owen, how about that one? And it was like pointing back to like Optimus Prime or whatever. And I mean, I think that was like the first time I'd ever seen his work, and I was just like, "Oh my God, I can't believe anybody." One, it was just a super creative picture, but also, it was just genius, man. It was like really well executed, and I'm like, there's that guy who takes pictures like that, who does like all those like turtles playing basketball, just these amazing pictures, and he's like, I'm burnt out. I just wanted to try something new. I'm going through the motions. I'm just doing the same old, and I mean, I guess it happens to everybody, but well, anyway, I guess like I was saying, like I see like there are those guys like I guess recently like artists like we've kind of talked about like Nose Rain. I don't want to go through like a whole list of people. I feel like just by like naming people, like I'm trying like there's almost like this exclusion, like you're not that person. Just let's just to name a couple, then that
Well,
everyone
everybody
knows.
has inspirations, man. Everybody
Yes,
has people
yeah.
that they look up to. That's nothing to, feel bad about. Like everybody has those roster of people that they go back to for inspiration. So,
Well, okay. Like we've talked about Stu. Let's say a few. Let's say we've named like three or four. That's good. But like just those people in general, and the quality, of their work, and like there are a number of people. There's like a lot of people in this community that create work just as compelling and stunning. Actually, I think we've kind of talked about this, and I'm kind of going off script here, but it's just like kind of like I'm always kind of blown away, especially like when I look, as like kind of like doing like the fans curator sort of thing. When you see just like the quality of work that comes in, and I don't know if it's because there's just like a lot more tutorials, like a lot more people are seeing this as a viable art form, and you're getting a lot of creative types. Maybe you're getting a lot of younger people who really love toys and now have access to cell phones and are doing this and kind of growing up into it. But just like the overall quality I've noticed within the last couple years has just really kind of gone up. And it also might be just like the quality of figures and just the external support, like the lighting, like atmosphere aerosol, just other things like the dioramas that are accessible and available and affordable, like with the extreme sets, Instaprint diorama, like the ability to print things off like that. And I don't
right.
know. I mean, I always just kind of blown away by our community and just like the quality. So when I name people, and I really just kind of I'm giving people who have a large following that I would assume that our community is extremely familiar with, rather than saying those are the people that are the ones that are the sole ones creating quality work. Let me put it that way.
Oh yeah, man. I really appreciate the fact that you said that because that needs to be said. And the fact just because you don't have a ginormous following doesn't mean you're not creating quality content.
Well, I say that's a really good point too, man. And sorry to interrupt you, but like I think that's a really good point. It's just that one, I mean, it's just I see, people with like not a large following that you just create like mind-blowingly amazing works. You just sit there and you're like, I don't know what this person has to do to get to get better known in our community, but man, they definitely need it. And I
Yeah.
see it like on the fans page a lot. I think it's like ocean view dioramas. I've featured a few of his works, and not to name, I'm not naming just one person. And there's like hundreds of people that are posting just amazing stuff, thousands. I named that one like when I first started tagging the page. I was just like, whoa, like who is this person? And not a large following. At that time, but like just the work itself, we were just like, man, this person, one, they make their own dioramas. It's really cool. And their dioramas are fantastic. But also just like, just the posing and the quality of the work was really, really spot on. So
It's true, man. Like this community is amazing, and we have to support it. That's why we do this podcast. That's why we have our feature pages. We're trying to get those people out there that don't have a gigantic following and give them some support. So we're actually now going to take a break, and we will get right back to the Toy Photographers podcast. Stay right there. Welcome back to the Toy Photographers Podcast. This is the Scott Bline episode. I hope you're enjoying this because I definitely am, everybody. But I want to ask you this. Do you see yourself as somebody who influences this community? And does it affect you? I know you have that SH Figuarts fans page. Does it affect you as an artist when you're able to see, such amazing content? Does it help you, or do you feel like it harms you?
Well, one, to answer the first part of that, no, I don't actually see myself as an influencer in any way. Honestly, man, I'm surprised that anyone follows, to be honest with you, man. I'm just like, man, it just kind of blows me away. I appreciate it. I appreciate when people think that the quality of those shots is, something that they kind of want to see on a regular basis, or whatever that posting schedule is that I try to keep to. But like when I see other artists, it's kind of like a mixed bag. When I'm like going good, when I feel like I'm in a right place, when I see other people's work, I can really fully appreciate it. And
Mm-hmm.
then like when I'm just having like a bad time and I can't really think of a shot, I don't want to look at other people's stuff. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I
I
guess
know
it's
what you mean, though. I know what you
yeah,
mean.
it's just like you start looking at it and you're like, well, what if I did something like that? Because like, like the ideas aren't coming. And
Right.
you're like, no, 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 no. I don't want to do a shot. I don't want to do that person's shot. I don't want to, I don't want to do that. But what if you did that? What if like the colors or whatever? It's like, no, 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 that's not me. That's not how I shoot. And like, so you kind of like when it goes like that, so it's kind of like a mixed bag, but I guess for the most part, I really enjoy seeing other people's like stuff, especially because, it's like, I mean, there's literally thousands of us out there doing this, which, I mean, think about that. Like you just kind of wrap your head around that for a second, that there's like tens of thousands of us. There's like a little army of like toy photographers with like a, Hasbro Black Series and a insta shot in hand, and we're going out to the local parks to take over and like throw some dirt. That's pretty funny, but no, I mean, it's just kind of it's just really cool that there's that many people, and we all don't, we don't think the same. It's like you and me, we approach shots differently, no matter like how many like values we share, like how many of the same comic books we love, the same movies we love, no matter how many times I try to talk you into watching like Big Trouble in Little China, or
Hey, I
whatever.
watched that, by the
You
way.
you did, man. I'm like super excited for you. I love
I
that movie.
love that movie now.
Oh, it's great. But like, it's like none of us, we don't think the same. So we all approach shots like differently. And like one thing, it's like I just love seeing like, especially there are those who extremely cinematic in their shots. You have people like Roll the Hard Six and Eye of Watu, I think is how you pronounce that.
Yeah, Tom.
Tom, like you see his like he does a lot of portraits. You see those shots, or the Dragon Ball Z or whatever, like things that that you don't necessarily shoot that much, And like, we all kind of edit a little bit differently, and we all kind of approach a shot a little bit differently. And then like, like our lighting is different, and just like, some people are like funnier, some people like to have like very action shots like Jesse, like, or Neronian, like, he takes these amazing shots, and like, with these like the purples and the reds and the pinks, and just like these very colorful, amazing shots. And for the most part, it's fun to see things like that. And I say most, for the most part, when I say is like, when it, like, unless, it's like kind of like really drawing blanks, and it just gets frustrating. I don't want to see anything. Like when you see things like that, it really does kind of like blow my mind. Like one person that I've really enjoyed content wise is like when I see like, Nick inspired by Andre, like the way he kind of uses like the oranges and the blues kind of playing off one another, and just has these really soft images. That, I mean, that's just a style that, like, that's not me. It's not my style. But like you see that, and like you can really appreciate just how like and I'm like, once again, I'm getting into names, but this is kind of like my brain just going into overtime here. Like Toy Floxen, like Aswan, like you just see, I have no
Oh,
idea
I love
how
his
he does.
stuff.
It's amazing, right? It's like Fear of Bats. You see those shots. It's like you see these things, and you're like, I will never take a shot like that.
And
And that,
that's okay.
and
And that's
it's
okay.
okay, and it makes me a little sad. But it's like you look at something like that, and you're like, my gosh, that's just. But like, just their approach, and I mean, they're not going to take a shot like, like you, or they're not going to take a shot like me. They take, how they do it. But like, I guess what I'm getting at is that there's room enough for everybody to kind of like see the world the way they see it, and like see with, the toys, and tell their story how they want to tell it. And it doesn't matter, man, because we all have. And like, I know you've told me this before. It's like I've kind of come to you going, man, I don't want to do that shot because it's been done. And you're just like, no, man, like, it's been done, but it hasn't been done by you, you know
Exactly.
and like, I always, and I remember like first time you told me, I'm like, oh, whatever, man. But no, it's absolutely true. And it's like you make some really good points there. Made a really good point where it's just like, that's your shot, man. Tell your shot, tell your story. And if it's been done, it's been done, but it hasn't been done by you. So
Exactly. And with pop culture and us being super fans of pop culture, like, almost every shot that, you can think of, whether it's superhero or horror, comic book related, doesn't matter. Most of the time it's probably been done before. But just being able to realize, you're expressing yourself in a way, even having just your stamp on it, it's going to be different. Like just like every fingerprint is different. It's amazing when you think about how every person has a different fingerprint in the entire,
absolutely, man.
population of the world. There's nobody has your fingerprint. So when you're able to think about those things, and you realize, wow, okay, even if it's just a simple thing of a lighting technique, or an effect, or whatever it may be, using the tools that you have, and using what you have is a big thing. Like, don't worry about going out and buying 15 lume cubes, and you know what I mean. Just use what you have. If you like, I use a lot of table lamps, for lighting. And just use what you have, and experiment, and just try to realize that the only thing that's limiting yourself is your own
Absolutely,
brain.
man.
The only thing that's limiting you is your brain. And I have to tell myself that a lot.
You can use anything,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's really your imagination. If you realize this thing that we love to do, it's not about gaining reputation. It's about giving back. You gain a reputation as you give. If you really want to get really big, just give. Just like go out there and help other people, and be like the people that teach others how to get better at their craft, and just give it away for free. Like that's what's gonna, really propel you and make you enjoy this more.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
for
I guess I heard you say that when you were talking to Jesse in the third podcast, where you were just talking about community, and you're absolutely right. I guess, we in this community, it's only as strong, as the people there. And then maybe that's a little cliche, whatever. I guess it kind of gets down to the point is that you guys were talking about like, the new algorithm and the likes, and you were just like, dude, you want comments on your stuff, go out there and comment, go out there and be proactive, go out there and engage in the community, engage with people, and that's absolutely true. I mean, you can kind of sit back and kind of bemoan the fact that, like maybe you don't feel like you're being treated fairly, or you're not getting the reputation you feel like you should. But it really kind of comes down to is that go out there and support one another. Just be there. Just be
Exactly.
engaged. And it's like everyone I've ever met, like on Instagram, and this isn't like a blanket statement, like I like like everyone, that's kind of ridiculous. But I guess the people within our community that I've kind of engaged with, like DM wise, I've only had like a few cases where I've regretted knowing someone, and that's not because of like like photography or whatever. I think it just a bad experience. But
Sure.
like for the most part, it's just everyone's like super cool. I mean, we're just big geeks, man, who love toys and like get excited about like a new release. Like tomorrow is like what, Triple Force Friday, man,
Oh
or
man.
whatever that is. And like oh my god, it's like everyone's like buzzing that like there's going to be the new Star Wars figures out. And I think tomorrow is like you can like pre-order that new Rey and Kylo Ren and like the Sith Trooper from like Bandai.
SH Figuarts stuff.
Oh, it's so geeked about that. And like I don't even want to spend money, man. I can't even spend money. I'm trying to save money. But I look at that and it's like that's like almost like on the same level as food to me. Is like I need that. But like everyone's like that. Like I know on the fans page, like I was releasing, like I think when I released those, Aram, I'll just say Aram, man. I'm sure I messed that up. He's just like, oh well, that's life. I'm gonna go pre-order these. I've got like three of these or two or three of these like figure arts Kylo Rens, and I'm just gonna get this one, although it's the same one except for like a cloak, but I have to get it. And
Yep.
it's like we're all the same, man. We're all kind of like, and like what was it like? There's that figure arts one with the rock star that's coming out, and I was talking with Jay like over like the messages on fans, and we're just like I'm like I have no idea who this is. I've never listened to this guy's music, but I absolutely want to pre-order this figure just because I could use it for so many other things. It
Yep.
like the articulation, the way it's built, it just looks amazing. It's like
Yep.
I don't know. I could put like an Elvis head on it. I don't even know. I could put a stormtrooper head on it, and like you were talking about Red Dog, Paul. Like we'll put like like a stormtrooper head on a suit, and it like has that series of pictures that's just amazing.
Oh, I
Um,
know.
so I don't know, man. It's just I get excited about talking about toys. I get excited, like talking with others about toys and then the pictures you see like all the new pictures and stuff, and like whenever a new release comes out, like speaking of like the new like figure arts Yoda that came out, just like the slew of like just amazing shots that came out just got me so excited. They're still coming. I mean, I still see shots like that, but it's just like, man, this is fun. This is a lot of fun. We can get like kind of focus on like negative stuff if you want, but for the most part, man, it's just supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be lighthearted, and the only ones making money are like Hasbro and Bandai and like Mezco. Those are the people making money.
Yep.
The
Yep.
rest of us are just like geeks trying to snap a picture with a DSLR. So whatever.
It's definitely one of those instances that you have to just learn to appreciate, for what it is, because it can get very consuming very quickly whenever you get into that consumer, gotta get these figures, gotta pre-order. And I've been that way. I'm not perfect. I have pre-ordered way too much before and just kind of looked at my budget and said, well, I can't swing that. And it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I need to offload all these figures, but it's like, it's something that we enjoy. And it's like when you have a passion as focused as toy photography, and it's not a poor man's hobby at all, that's for sure.
Mm.
When you have something so laser focused and something you enjoy so much, you find ways to be able to do it. You find ways to be able to, even if I've done this before. I've picked up a figure just for a shot, and then I've sold the figure just because I wanted that shot. Because
Oh
being a
yeah,
toy
yeah, absolutely.
photographer, I want the shot. Like I mean, I'm not a collector, so I don't hoard at all. But it's like that's another topic. I'd love to like get that on another episode with you one day, and I think we're gonna have to cut it short. You are definitely going to have to be coming back on, and we're going to have to get a round two. I also want to go ahead and kind of preface that we're going to be doing a round table episodes with me and you, where we're going to be focusing on the feature pages that we both run, just looking over the content that we all of us look at every single day, and just kind of chatting about our favorite shots, and just being able to talk about toys and have an open discussion where it's not an interview format where we can just ramble like we do, in our daily text messages anyways. So this will be a fun format. Look out for the roundtable episodes coming up soon.
I don't know if that's a heads up or a warning, man, because
Yeah, it's definitely a warning.
I think if there's anything the listeners have figured out today is that I can ramble.
Hey, I love the fact that you're, going to ramble with me about toys, man.
Oh,
It's
dude,
something
I'm excited about that. That's gonna
yeah,
be so much fun.
it's gonna be great.
I'm really excited about that.
And anybody that wants to hop on, previous or future people that have been interviewed, let's message me, and maybe we can work and do a 3 or 4 person round table and
Oh my God, that would be so much fun, man.
chat. Let's do it. Hit us up, and we'll figure it out. You can go ahead and close us out, man. If you got anything that you just want to get off your chest, the mic's open.
Well, if I was going to say anything, thank you to everybody out there for listening. For the Toy Photographers podcast is an amazing way to get to know everyone. I've thoroughly enjoyed listening on my commute into work. Thank you for listening. To this one in particular. I'm surprised that anyone actually wants to know more about me, but I'm flattered. And if anybody wants to DM Scott Bline, that's my Instagram. Go ahead, DM. Let's chat. I love talking about photography. I love talking about lighting. Especially love talking about toys. Let's have some fun, man. That's what it's all about. Also, if I could put a plug in there, go out to the Figuarts fans page. That's FANZ fans. So Figuarts fans. Give it a follow. Post your Figuarts shots. General principle that I've been following is that if the principal subject is a Figuarts, it can include other Black Series, Figma, Mezco, whatever, as long as either a majority or principally it's a Figuarts. I make allowances when a shot is particularly delightful. Speaking of which, did you see the one cam that Mario Brothers slam dunk on?
Oh, dude.
Oh my God.
He is a master. Shout out to the one cam if you're listening, man. He
saw that the other day. I was like, yeah,
dude.
I gotta feature that one. But that had the Figma link, whatever. So anyway, go out there, give it a follow, tag us. Community's only as strong as the people that are out there supporting it. I think you've been saying it. You make a great point, man, is that support one another. If you really like a shot, let somebody know, man. Go, hey man, great shot. Got a question? For the most part, I think everyone's pretty awesome. So ask a question from someone, chat it up, man. Just go out, be involved, be part of it. I don't know. I'm usually kind of the type of person that I get really impassioned about things, and then it seems to wane and taper off. Hobby wise, I get really excited to do something, and then after a few months, or I think most people were like that, they oh yeah, I really want to learn how to cross stitch, whatever. I really want to learn how to paint, and you start doing it, and then after a while you're like, you know what, this is hard, I don't want to do this anymore. But this is the one thing I've kind of stuck with. I love it. I can't think of doing anything else. Sometimes I get frustrated. I'm like, you know what, I just don't want to deal with Instagram today, or this week or this month. But the desire to go out and take a piece of plastic and put it to camera, put it on film or whatever hasn't stopped in 2 years. So it's fun, man. Love it. So I don't know. That's kind of a long-winded. I know. Kind of got to get out of here and.
Oh, you're good, dude. You're good. And thank
but
you so much, man, for coming on. Can't wait to get you back on and start doing the roundtable episodes. It's going to be a lot of fun. So you can find me at Dagobah_days, and you can find the Mezco 112 Collective feature page at 1.12.collective. And you can find the Toy Photographers podcast at ToyPhotoCast. So remember, everybody, we are storytellers. Get out there, tell your story, shoot some toys, and have a blast. This is Dagobah Days signing off. Peace.